Hello, everyone. She's introduced me. My name is Deborah, and I'm here to do a reading from my debut novel. It's titled Ileri, Spirit Overshade. So I'll just give you a quick background about how this book came to be. It's my first novel. I've always wanted to write, but I've been scared to because the genre I've been drawn to has always been fantasy, sci-fi fantasy, and I'm like, okay, so I have to create a whole new world, and it's just felt like such a daunting task. But during COVID, it was a particularly dark period. I was on lockdown, like everyone else, and the news was just filled with reports of the Black Lives Matter protests. And I remember feeling really sorrowful when I listened to the account of what happened to George Floyd. And as I usually do, I spoke to God about it. And my conversation went like this. I said, so if people really knew, like I do, that we all come from one source, you, and we all share one breath, yours, would they still be so inhumane to each other? And I guess the response was the inspiration for this book. And so it's speculative fiction with elements of high fantasy and sci-fi. It's based on an imagined African race, African-inspired race because it's not a race. It's the world is called Ileri. It's a nation that was born from seven rays of the rainbow, and it rose from the ashes of a destroyed world. So I'll just read. This is the opening chapter, but it's not actually. It's like an introduction into the world of Ileri. It's not a prologue per se. It's more detailed than a prologue. It's we see a character, an outcast character, encounter the world of Ileri for the first time, and so we see him enter this world through. We enter this world through his eyes. So it's titled "The Day Before the Beginning." And I read. Jao didn't know what to do with his feet. To move, he knew he had to put one in front of the other. But finding himself without a taskmaster for the first time in his 19 cycles, he just stood there, shuffling his feet in the middle of a bustling thoroughfare in the realm death had brought him to. Towering trees like ancient sentinels guarded the verdant field where brown-skinned children frolicked to his left. On the other side, a market bustled. Wherever this was, Jao knew he wasn't supposed to be there. The people moving around him knew it too. Judging from the wide berth and strange looks they were throwing his way, Jao could tell they knew what he was. Even without seeing his charcoal dark skin and red eyes hidden under veils he didn't remember wearing, it was obvious they knew he was Wukba. Lively chatter from the market drew Jao's attention, and he found himself captivated by the scene. Animated traders and buyers at the fruit and herb stalls showcased a vibrant range of skin tones, varying from warm, sun-kissed medium browns to rich mahogany hues. They're the Wiko people, Jao thought, remembering their description from stories Wukba elders told in the Ntana mines. Surreptitiously admiring them, Jao wondered why there were so many people from Ileri's Green Nation in this afterlife realm. He stared, mesmerized by their expressive faces and lively movements, thinking he'd encountered the most animated people in the world, just as another group passed by. Swiveling, Jao gaped at a group of about 20 gliding by on a moving platform. He couldn't discern the mechanism that propelled it, but the intricate tattoos adorning their skin identified them as Wufe, Ileri's Orange Nation. Wufe people had lighter brown skin tones, ranging from warm golden hues to shades of desert sand. The elders had dubbed them the Peacock Nation, renowned for their talents in painting, sculpting, song, dance, and sleight of hand. The boisterous display on the moving platform confirmed these stories. Weko and Wufe, two of the three free nations of Ileri. Forgetting his plight for a moment, Jao looked around, wondering if he would catch a glimpse of the third nation, the mysterious Warum. He craned his neck, hoping to spot the people often whispered about, the race with ghostly pale skin and hair completely lacking color. A piercing sound abruptly ended Zhao's inquisitive thoughts. A rhythmic thudding that sounded hauntingly familiar, although he'd never heard it before. Zhao turned his head in its direction. What he saw made his knees buckle. Panic, his ever-present companion, awoke from its slumber, telling him to prepare for the punishment that was sure to come for the massively wrong turn he'd taken. How did I enter Land? He despaired silently. A heavy sense of dread settled over him. Trembling under its crushing weight, he sank to his knees and gazed at the luminous figure that had appeared on the far horizon. The creature was so immense that it seemed to brush the sky. A double crest of gold-tipped feathers crowned its head, framing an intimidating golden beak and piercing yellow eyes. One day, Zhao would recognize the creature as Yidi, the majestic wickle-crowned eagle. But now, he was certain this awe-inspiring being could be none other than the all-powerful, all-knowing, unseen creator of Ileri, the one who had cast a curse over his race. Zhao soon heard a sob, then another. It took a while for him to realize he was producing the sound. Crying was forbidden on Mountain Tana, so this sensation felt both strange and liberating. You're not on Mountain Tana anymore. Zhao wasn't sure where the rebellious thought had come from. Nevertheless, he allowed himself to be swept off by waves of self-pity. Kneeling amidst the bustling thoroughfare, the Wokpa man bowed his head and wept freely, chest heaving and shoulders quaking until a sharp whack suddenly sent a jolt of pain across his back. Zhao's body shut down. The tears, sobs, and quaking ceased all at once. The taskmasters had found him. It was time for retribution. The mesh of scars on his back itched in anticipation of the stinging bite of the barbed whip that would tear them open yet again. But the bite never came. Instead, a female voice with a quiver that betrayed old age wafted into his ears. Get up! Why are you making a mockery of our kind? There was rebuke in the voice, as well as a quality Zhao didn't have a reference for. Despite not knowing what was meant by our kind, the underlying softness of her spoken words coaxed an answer from him. I'm lost, he said despondently. Of course you are. Get up, child. I'll take you somewhere safe. Shock coursed through Zhao, sending an involuntary shiver down his spine. This person clearly had no idea what he was. Raising his head, Zhao saw a frail figure swathed from top to bottom in the same grey veils that covered him. She balanced her thin frame on a wooden cane. A trickle of hope stirred in his chest. He wondered if theirs was the garb of those condemned to the Otterlands. Maybe this person could lead him there. Do you know how to get to the Otterlands? He asked meekly. Murmurs of disbelief trailed his question. Zhao followed the sound and saw 5 other veiled figures clustered around the old woman. Why are you asking about the Otterlands? She asked, ignoring them. That's where I'm supposed to go. I didn't mean to come into the eternal place. I don't know how I ended up here. This time, his words triggered a stronger reaction from the other veiled figures. A couple of them chuckled, and an amused, girlish voice asked, Does he think he's dead? Confused, Zhao turned to the entity on the horizon, which seemed even larger now. He noticed 7 bowl-shaped wooden drums secured to its waist by a cowrie-studded leather belt. With talon-like fingernails, the entity tapped the drums, producing the sound that had pierced his thoughts earlier. Isn't that the creator? He asked, pointing a trembling finger at the massive creature. His question elicited outbursts of laughter from everyone but the old woman. Be still, she ordered, immediately hushing everyone once more. Why do you think that's the creator? She asked. Under his veils, Zhao's mouth hung open, but words refused to come out. Not wanting to make a bigger fool of himself, he just shook his head. That's Lumi, the divine drummer, the woman said patiently, before adding in an amused voice, I see he's wearing his favorite costume today. So that was a costume. But why was the drummer so large, and what was that celestial glow about him? Zhao's palpable bewilderment drew more murmurs from the veiled figures. The old woman tapped her stick again before speaking. Every first market day, when the sun is highest in the sky, Lorraine M'lati is transmitted across the free nations to remind us never to forget the enemy of Ileri. Listen, child, can you hear the words of Lorraine's song? Jao froze. The woman had mentioned the free nation. His kind could not enter the free nations, either dead or alive. How had he gotten here? Lacking the courage to voice his questions, the workman did as he was told and listened to the drummer. Soon, he realized the distinct rhythmic timbres produced by Lorraine's talons formed a phonemic pattern he could understand. The drums were indeed singing. Concentrating on each talon strike, Jao began to hear Lorraine's story. Seven is the color of the crater's promised lights. Seven lights shone down, seven pillars arose. Four is the number that withstood Otanion. Three went under, we weep for lost brothers. Waye we luwaro, we mourn our lost sisters. Lorraine paused for a beat. Then his talons began to tap the drums lightly, producing a poignant rhythm that made Zhao's heart ache. He wasn't the only one affected that way. A sudden outburst of keening sounds caused Zhao to swivel. All activity had stopped. Everyone except for the veiled figures looked towards the luminous drummer on the horizon, their laments rising with the drum's rhythm until it reached a crescendo and then stopped as suddenly as it had begun. The silence that followed lay as heavy as a mountain on Zhao's shoulders. He knew where this tale was heading. Stop it here, please, he prayed, silently dreading a rehash of the indictment he had carried since the day he'd been born. Yet, even as he prayed, his heart reminded him of a well-known fact. There was no one to answer a Wokwaman's prayers. Green, the pillar that flourished emerald, forests and hills, Larry resumed his song. This time, the Wicco people over at the produce stalls responded, Blessed Wicco, be fruitful forever. The sheer volume of their voices reverberated through this area, drawing skulls from the Wofe people who occupied the roving platform. Orange, the pillar that tinted canyons and savannas, Larry continued. Spirited Wofe, we ride on the wings of Ileri. The Wofe's final note, prolonged with vocal dexterity, was a clear act of defiance. Unimpressed, the Wicco people responded with dismissive scoffs. Blue, the pillar that reflects our waters, Lorraine went on. Immaculate Warrow, cleanse the depths of our world. A hushed, somber response drifted from a cluster of hooded figures huddled in a shadowy corner. Zhao's awestruck gaze sought out the elusive Warren people, but his wonder was cut short by the next line of Lorraine's song. Red, the pillar of the mountains that spat fire, the divine drummer sang. Without waiting for a response, his talons scraped across the seven drums, producing a tumultuous rhythm that sparked a fiery sensation in Zhao's chest. Anger, a feeling he rarely had the privilege to express, now surged through him. He could feel it in the air, wrath, spreading like wildfire, uniting the tribes in shared fury against their common enemy. Lorraine resumed his song, the rhythm now a pounding pulse of rage. Red, the eyes of Ileri's betrayer. Everyone apart from the veiled people chorused. Sorry. But for Mura, he would have slayed all. Red, the blood of our lost brothers and sisters, Lorraine sang. But for Mura, he would have drained all. The people's response reverberated. Red, the land of beasts without souls, Lorraine sang, eliciting a thunderous response. Cursed be the ones spurned there. Cursed be the beast's nurture. Cursed be Wukba, merciless usurper. In shackles, he will live forever. With a final heart-wrenching line, Lorraine dissolved into nothingness, prompting everyone to resume their interrupted tasks. Everyone except for Jao. The Wokpa man knelt frozen with fear, not moving even when the old woman tapped his shoulder. Come, child, we must leave. Loren's show may have distracted them, but the good people of Odon don't tolerate the presence of Mdetes for too long. Jao didn't move. He couldn't. He remained on his knees, waiting to be discovered. Soon, his veils would be lifted. Then, they would find out he was Wokpa and kill him once again. Then, he would be free. Thank you.